You're listening to DrachenPod, the official podcast of DrachenFest US. Please share, like, review, and subscribe to help our community of champions grow. Learn more and secure your tickets for this incredible experience today at DrachenFest.us. DrachenFest US, the largest fantasy LARP event in the United States. Each June, more than 1,200 attendees spend 4 days in Pennsylvania, role-playing fantasy characters engaged in immersive gameplay, experiencing stories, celebrations, battles, and medieval life. You have answered the call, and your adventure begins with this episode of DrachenPod. Hey everybody, welcome to DrachenPod. This is the official podcast of DrachenFest US. I am Ryan Fariselli. I'm the marketing coordinator for DrachenFest.
Hi, I'm Carie Varner, and I'm the Limbus design lead.
And I'm Jason Hughes, the Limbus coordinator.
Today we're going to be talking about Silver Camp, and we're going to be joined by Stefano Mach, who is Silver 2.
At Silver 2, he is one of the refs that facilitate the Silver Camp experience.
Let's go talk to him.
Ooh.
I summon into the podcast the one whose knowledge and leadership drives Silver Camp. The one whose enthusiasm and joy empowers players. The one whose righteous wrath is eclipsed only by his decadent fashion sense. I call forth Stefano Mach. So welcome, Stefano, to DrachenPod. We're excited that you're here. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I woke up about 25 minutes before this, so we'll see how loose I am. But
Wow.
Otherwise, pretty good.
Oh, because you're on the West Coast, right?
Mm-hmm. It's 9:40 for me right now.
Oh no! Oh no, we're
now
sorry.
I feel a little guilty.
We should have later.
I like that.
We woke up. We've had breakfast.
That was my second breakfast. Yeah.
Oh,
I got up at like 6 this morning and
Jason
couldn't
the
go back to
Hobbit.
sleep.
Stefano, why don't we start by just finding out, tell us a little bit about yourself and, what do you do? You're obviously from the West Coast, and how did you hear about DrachenFest?
Well, my name is Stefano Mach. I am a philosophy student at San Jose State University. So I was looking for LARP to attend. I looked around and I saw that there was an opening for a ref, and that if you're a ref, you could get free food, free stay, and also free ticket. Yeah, I wrote a friend in, and we sort of went together.
But you didn't come as a player, you came as a ref, right? Your very first time.
Yes, that's right. I came as a ref.
So what made you not come as a player your first time? Had you ever LARPed before?
No. It was my absolute first time ever doing anything LARP adjacent. I've done TTRPG stuff before, but
that's amazing.
yeah, it was first time ever LARPing.
What was that like to walk into the largest LARP in the U.S.?
I mean, I was just absolutely blown away. I walked in, I was thinking, well, okay, it's probably going to be all right. I'll at the very least, if it pans out poorly, I'll get basically a semi-free vacation out of it. But no, I remember walking down to the camp and seeing the camp walls and thinking, whoa! Yeah, so after that, I think the bar has been raised for a lot of other LARPs for me.
Sure. Have you played other LARPs since?
No. I keep trying, but the Bay Area is kind of bad for that.
Sure.
I keep looking around. I think there's like one other thing, and I just can't seem to make those times.
Your first year at DrachenFest, was it with Silver Camp?
It was with Silver Camp. So I was placed into Silver Camp by Reese, and
now you're Silver 2. So as Silver 2, what does that role entail?
so I am pretty much just another referee. I do referee things, which generally amounts to facilitating play. This year they added weapons checks, so that too. All the refs have to do some help with the emergency stuff. So this year when the camp flooded because silver was so low. We had to deal with that. Oh, and the lightning call, that was the thing we had to deal with too.
All right, what do you mean by lightning call?
Lightning struck and like a tree was felled somewhere in the general vicinity of Silver Camp. I mean, the lightning call was before that, and we basically had to be in standby to make sure we were, one, going to be struck by lightning, and two, not going to be hit by anything that was felled by the thing that lightning struck.
Right.
So we had to be on watch for that, and we had to keep the players safe and notify them when they were finally free to do what they needed to do.
So really, a ref facilitates the play both in game and out of game for everybody down there. Both
Yes, that is a
safety
very-
and everything.
Very concise way of putting that.
When you had the weather event, safety was pretty important. Did they stop play for that and everything?
Oh yeah, they did. I think during the onset of that, they had like soft play, no leaving the camp. But once a lightning call was like made official, that was pretty much the end of play until
That's awesome.
that was lifted.
That's great. Well, every dragon has its own like set of virtues and vices, and every camp has a certain vibe to it because of what their dragon represents. Can you tell us about the silver dragon?
So the silver dragon is basically the creator, right?
Okay.
The silver dragon literally creates the world. That's what the silver dragon's job is in the cycle. The silver dragon also represents lawfulness and mercy. So it's like it deals with themes of what's right and what's good. Do they sort of justice be the sword, or is it going to be through some sort of merciful, sort of dignified approach? Then there's chivalry and noble virtue, which is trying to hold your head high, behave with etiquette, that sort of deal. And then there's decadence, right? Which means to enjoy all things, including to the excess. This often means indulging in art or food or music. And finally, there's righteous wrath, which is basically, I think, a really interesting one, where when Silver gets real angry, it's time for other people to run away because they will be they can be violent. Yeah.
It sounds like, and the righteous part of the wrath is what keeps that with lawfulness, right? So it's like when the law has been broken, there is anger.
When an injustice occurs.
What would be an example of a player exemplifying these virtues? Can you give us an example of a player in particular that their actions exemplified this? So if I was a new player, I could use this person as an example.
Yeah. Sir Tristram would be probably a good example of lawfulness and mercy. I think 2 years ago, Silver founded its own knight order, and this year it's been about sort of consolidating that. And Sir Tristram's working with other people to sort of get that going. But yeah, Sir Tristram's a pretty good example of it. He fights with honor, nobility, and when the time comes, he gives mercy. He was also the general this year. So yeah, I think if you want a good example of lawfulness and mercy, you should go to Sir Tristram.
Is he kind of a paladin?
Yeah, kind of like a paladin.
You said something about a knight order. Like how? Like is that something people could join?
Yes, that is absolutely something people could join.
Would be a good way of somebody representing decadence.
Decadent, right.
Since that seems out of character to this paladin-like dragon, how does that fit in with the theme?
It fits in because Silver's kind of like the creator, right?
Right.
So because Silver's the creator, creation to the Silver Camp is something that's not only meant to be defended and sort of abided by, but also enjoyed. You kind of have the good with the right? So in that way, you kind of have to not only act rightly, but also you get to enjoy the good. In this case, the good is the finer things in life: music, art, great interior design.
So in a way,
like
the decadence is kind of just celebrating what Silver has created.
Exactly. Lord Silverstar? Yeah, Lord Silverstar is a new player. I think it was Lord Silverstar's first time in the LARP this year. This year was Lord Silverstar's first time. And Lord Silverstar was also our head diplomat here.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I think Lord Silverstar kind of exemplifies that decadence. Always dressed very finely. Yeah, his tent was also, I think, quite fine, if from what I recall.
I'd also like to point out that that's one of the greatest names I've ever heard.
Silver Star.
That's fantastic.
every dragon is also kind of represented by an NPC, by a non-player character, and that is the avatar, right? Can you tell us about the avatar of Silver?
Sure. So our avatar is played by Shaheen, and he's a great person. Great guy. But in terms of the dragon in play, I guess I have to say that the silver dragon sort of has a pretty good relationship with, I think, every single other dragon. So be it red, blue, green, or shadow. I want to say the silver has a good relationship with all of them, except for maybe shadow.
Does anyone get
Maybe
along with Shadow? I don't know.
Sometimes I don't think Shadow gets along with Shadow.
But apart from that, the silver dragon can be very soft spoken. The silver dragon also is very direct at times. Definitely exemplifies all the virtues. Sometimes some more than others, but definitely all of them all at once. So you can definitely make the silver dragon very angry. At the same time, the silver dragon is very chivalrous and can for the most part abide by rules.
What did you think of the crown that he had this year?
That was great. I'm only remembering the silhouette of it. But
Okay.
What's the experience like to play in Silver Camp?
Silver Camp is a very tight knit place because of how small Silver Camp is relative to everyone else.
It is the smallest camp.
Hmm.
That's also kind of an opportunity, though, isn't it, for players who are new to DrachenFest to be able to come in and
be important.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, as I said, Lord Silverstar was a first year player and got like a leadership position just out the gate. So yeah, absolutely. In such a small camp like this, it provides, I think, two things: a tight atmosphere and also really crazy upward mobility if you're into that, because you get to just get an actual shot as opposed to like a bigger camp like Blue, where kind of drowned out by all the players that are already there.
As a ref, like you see a lot of things. Like you can see kind of how daily camp life happens, and what is it like a day in the life of a Silver Camp character?
Once open ceremony started and we're in the swing of things, for the most part, a camper will wake up. It'll be the morning. They'll maybe have breakfast. Sometimes they have breakfast by a campfire, and they'll like make food, and the food will be distributed and all that. Then, if they're running any kind of in-camp sort of business, they'll get to that. This year we had like Lyra's Libations, like a drink place. But we also had a cafe, I think, run by Star and I. So yeah, if around the time that might get started too. But yeah, once you're awake, wheels to the road. You kind of just get started with quests and camps and everything already. And when the Silver Dragon makes his way down, usually that too. Silver's really cool because they've also got this like passport thing where you've got to get a passport to get into Silver. They're the only camp that does that, I think.
Like you can't come through the gate unless you have a passport.
Something like that. You have to check your weapon. It's the whole process. Again, they're trying to exemplify like that lawfulness.
So how do players that are not part of Silver Camp get a passport?
Or come visit.
You go down and you could talk to someone, and there's like an interview process or something. They have to clear you, and then they clear you, and they're let in for a time. I know there's like a clearing process there because I've seen it happen multiple times.
That's amazing.
A friend of mine that was part of Silver Camp, I asked him about this once, and they said Silver Camp is really, really good at making passports, but because they're so honest and forthright, they're actually not very good at checking passports.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people would just come in with like, oh, here's my passport. And they go, looks good, because they're not good at that. They're too honest. They're like, why would they lie?
No one
It must
else
be a
would-
good
yeah.
passport.
That's
Why would they lie about
fantastic.
it?
I think a lot of play there is to allow the more mischievous players to get away with maybe some forgeries there. So the gruff guards at the front will be like, oh, this looks like a great passport, and then just let them in.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
You're not going to bribe your way in, but you might lie your way
You
in.
might just lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the organization in the camp? Who's in charge when the avatar is there?
So usually when the avatar is the second is in charge. The second was played this previous year by Bria. And
The second is also an NPC, correct?
yes, the second is also an NPC. When that happens, usually the second helps deal with whatever matters the avatar can't get to, helps along with quests, moves that forward too, and basically also makes sure that if the second knows it, then generally the referees know it, and the avatar also knows it, and that sort of helps keep everything
Sure.
coherent. So if you ever make progress on a quest, the second's also a great person to turn to, and that's good.
And beyond that, you had said that you'd already mentioned a couple of leadership positions that exist that player characters can achieve. Can you tell us a little about that?
Leadership positions are great, and they're definitely sort of high power, but they also come with a lot of responsibility. And as a player, I think you should definitely be prepared for that kind of responsibility.
There is a time commitment that folks should be aware of.
Absolutely. If you're looking to do like very granular sort of your own quest for play, a leadership position may not quite be for you. So there's the general, again, leads people into battle, deals with setting battles and deciding when camp goes into battle. Then there's the champion, fight for the camp, specifically in a tournament. I want to say the Fighters Guild tournament. And in other tournaments, winning these tournaments gets the camp eggs, and eggs are good.
Right.
I'm sure the other listeners have heard all about the merits of eggs, so I probably don't have to go into them.
The great competition.
But yeah, then there's the chancellor. The chancellor helps basically delegate and deal with in camp things, sort of like the mayor of the camp in a way. Definitely more about keeping the camp organized and sort of keeping them on track to win or to have a great time. Usually, hopefully both. Then there's the diplomat. The diplomat sort of deals with speaking with other camps and sometimes the bazaar, delegating deals, making sure treaties are made and then hopefully followed. Basically circling within that circle of diplomats to make sure everything's hunky-dory and everyone's friends. Then there's the spy master, or the spy master to make sure treaties are not followed, or when they're not followed, they kind of go fly under the radar. Generally speaking, the spy master deals with having their sort of collection of spies so that they can sort of freely get information, engage in like dishonest warfare, that sort of thing. If you want to break into a camp and get something stolen or steal something, rather, yeah, I think the spy master is probably the one who's delegated that or is going to be delegating that.
I wanted to ask you, what is it like to play a spy master in a camp that is, the lawful camp?
Silver is the lawfulness camp, and it's very much out in the open. But I think that there is also a time when Silver gets down and it's time for righteous wrath, and one of those ways is via some whimsical chicanery. It's also at the same time there is a warcraft aspect to sort of spycraft there, and insofar as they're going to be engaging in war, there's also some counterintelligence necessary at the very least, which makes spymaster also sort of like a counterintelligence position. So if you want to rat out some spies who've infiltrated your camp, again, spymaster probably a good person to turn to if you're not already the spy.
So with all of that said, there's all these official positions and roles and things like that. What happens in Silver Camp for fun?
Oh, there's so many great places to go to Silver Camp for fun. There's the Refuge, sort of like a bar tavern sort of deal where you can get a fine drink. I think 2 years ago they had like a ham thing. It was very decadent. I had to. It was great.
Like they roasted a ham?
No. They brought like one of the fancy sort of cured hams.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like prosciutto or like jamon iberico.
Oh,
wow.
Kind of,
Nice.
Oh,
Well, I've changed my mind on which camp I'm in.
right? That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but Silver also runs the spa, definitely an over 18 area. So if you're a kid or a teen,
So
can't go in there.
there is a spa at Drachen.
Yeah. It's like basically it's like an area where you can sort of hang loose, as they say, sort of be nude. Not that you have to be.
It is clothing
and
optional.
Yeah, clothing optional. That's the word. And you can sort of just relax in the pool of water that like they build a dam and everything to make sure there's enough water, the water level's right. And usually when it gets really hot, like it did 2 years ago, you can go in there to cool down. So yeah, that's also a thing. You've got the spa, and then there's Consolio, which happens I think at the eve of every single opening ceremony. Silver Camp hosts like a big thing, and in Consolio, basically like some sort of mingling opportunity. People from other camps come. A lot of great chattering there. So yeah, that's 3 highlights. There's Consolio, the Refuge, and the spa. There's definitely more.
I was going to say that last year when I made the circle in character, because I try to walk around and see all the camps at least once,
Mhm.
I had a really great non-alcoholic mixed drink at one of the bars in Silver Camp, and I do not remember the name of the bar, and I was wondering if you did.
Okay, so I remember there being 2 bars. There may have been more. I just can only remember 2. So there were Lyra's Libations. There's Sarnai's Cafe, which there's the Refuge. Maybe either Lyra's Libations.
Yeah, I think it was Lyra's Libations. I was super impressed by Silver Camp when I got to go through it this year.
Yeah, our players do great. There aren't very many of us, but but yeah, I think we really, when push comes to shove, we really put on a great showing. Oh, and there are also the cannon. So Silver Camp, I think the last year and this year did great with like the cannons. We had they're like artillery. There were 2 to 3 of them. There's like Sunbelcher. There's 3 of them, right? Yeah, I think 3 of them. Basically, cannons run with like gas, sort of like compression gas into like fire. They're within safety standards, of course,
Right.
and they look great and they feel great to get shot at. When I was getting shot at to test them.
And they make a really fun sound too, like
Yeah, they do.
and they shoot like dodgeballs, don't they, or something like big.
They shoot like sort of like very soft material, not something you'd have to worry about.
It shoots
getting
like
shot
a
at
big foam ball, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a big,
So not like a dodgeball. 'Cause
not like
those
a,
hurt.
no,
Yeah.
holler at us when y'all are testing them. I'd like to come down and watch.
I'd like you to shoot
I
Jason.
was just gonna say, can you shoot Jason? If we send Jason down, will you shoot him?
No, 100%. Please do. That sounds amazing.
It's another 5 months, but if I can somehow remember, I'll try to.
Oh.
I'll try to.
We'll remember.
I'll put it in my
I
calendar.
will send it down. I will send him down.
Go see Stefano to get shot.
So tell us a little bit about some of the out of game things that folks should know and expect from joining Silver Camp.
Sure, absolutely. So let's first get down to brass tack. Last year and the year before that, Silver Camp was the same place, and because it was sort of the lowest part of the hill, if there's another sort of high rain time or extreme weather event, Silver Camp is 1, liable to flooding, and 2, the winds can get strong there. The wind broke our gate the first time around, like the wind got caught in the gate, and then the gate just came down, or part of it came down.
Right.
So yeah, definitely be prepared for weather. I'm sure people have also talked about the heat, which is funny, flooding and heat. But heat is also a problem, so also make sure to be hydrated. This goes for the entire camp, of course, not
Right.
just Silver.
It sounds like we're talking about like a horrific event, but the truth is just June in Pennsylvania
It's rough.
can be 90 degrees for the whole week, or it could be, beautiful outside, but like for an hour each day you get like a crazy storm, or there can be no weather problems at all, and we never know.
Right. Year 2 was
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful summers I've ever had in my life. It was crazy.
The good news is that by having had these events, that DrachenFest is actually really prepared and has a very good system for keeping everybody safe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dan and the rest of the sort of board directors, they just keep iterating with this. Every time that they deal with like another emergency, they just keep getting better at these versions. So I think we're going to be in really, really good shape.
I was going to say that after, because I'm a coordinator, we were making this big circle to check on things. And I was blown away by how much Silver Camp came together and was repairing not only each other's tents and things like that, but also the gates were put back together so fast. It was very impressive.
Absolutely. Silver Camp, again, is really, really tight camp. And when the time comes, they really do come together.
Are there any other things out of game that folks should know about if they're wanting to play as part of Silver?
The trek up and down the hill, if you're thinking of doing like bizarre things, can be a killer.
Sure.
In fact, I think they call it heart attack kill.
They do.
But every camp has to deal with that. That's not just Silver Camp. That's just the layout of a campground. It's got a big hill.
Absolutely. I think Shadows sometimes dodges it because Shadows all the way on the top. They just kind of walk around.
Right.
But yeah, I guess every camp does have to deal with it. Heart attack kill is also a problem. If you have any problem, come to the refs. I'm sure you've heard this a bunch, but if you've got any problems, come to the refs. We're here to deal with pretty much everything. We're there for you, like touch base with the larger sort of DrachenFest people. So if you've got any like big problems, if you've got to deal with like quest stuff, and like if you're unsure where to go with a quest, I guess it's a important game. But if you've got any logistical issues too, come to a ref. We'll try to see if you sort it out.
What advice can you give for players to really fall in love with Silver? What should they do?
I guess kind of you sort of touched on this, but really be interested in embracing that sort of duality, right? Engage in not only the lawful stuff, but also the decadent stuff. I think that there's a really interesting sort of duality there that could really be explored, and it's really nice to like enforce the rules and also enjoy the finer things in life. If you really want to fall in love with silver, you really the best way to do that is to engage with all of it, and all of it usually in this case means both the knightly side and sort of like the more royal side, I guess.
Word for
And
it,
the
yeah.
wrathful side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the wrathful side.
We would think of the dragons as having vices and virtues, but the dragons themselves would never think of them as vices. They're just these are all virtues. I represent this.
Mhm.
I don't have bad qualities.
Yeah, absolutely. For an outsider looking in, they may be like, righteous wrath is bad. But for the dragon, it's sort of just being consistent with itself, right? And that is within itself a virtue. The dragon is righteously wrathful, and there's a righteousness aspect to that I think sort of makes it a lot less clear about it being strictly good or bad or anything like that.
I was just going to say it's really nice because all of the dragons are balanced in
Mhm.
that way.
Yeah, there isn't any purely good dragon. There's no dragon that just exemplifies goodness and goodness itself. They're all really interestingly complicated in that way. Which I think is also another interesting thing to think about.
For folks
Yeah.
who are listening that haven't been to DrachenFest before, Stefano is the ref that walks around in the like really nice dress shirt and vest and is like the best dressed person on
Mhm.
site. And I point that out because I can't help but think that you may be the most perfect embodiment of silver.
Yeah, I think that happened by complete happenstance. And then Reese somehow clocked me in the interview we had. Yeah, I think I was just slotted into silver, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. This seems great.
I can't think of a better camp for you to be a part
Yeah,
of.
no, it's
honestly.
perfect.
How can players who are thinking about Silver Camp, like they're buying their ticket and they're like, I want to join Silver Camp, but we're still 5 months away from actually being at DrachenFest. How can folks get connected and get involved with Silver Camp before games so that when they arrive, maybe they know some people already or have information so that they're better prepped, or if they want to help contribute to building the wall or help contribute to funding the tavern.
There's an unofficial Silver Camp Discord. I think all the silver people are there.
I'll make sure that link is in the show notes so that folks can find it.
Silver Camp has a Discord. I lurk there. I sort of just I look into the comings and all goings of players and seeing what they're doing. But yeah, they do some pretty cool stuff. They're dealing with funding, building the wall, crafting stuff too. They're dealing with helping each other work with costumes. I think there's a Bardic Circle thing going on too.
Oh, cool.
So overall, if you want to help out with anything before the game, the Discord's the place to be, I think.
And I think that's cool because that gives you an opportunity to also kind of get to know some of the people you're going to be camping with for a week. And that feels like that's really important.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What do you think that your degree in philosophy has influenced your reffing? Because like one of the things we talk about is that DrachenFest is an argument of 5 different philosophies trying to determine which one is ascendant.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever applied it that way, but that's a really great way of looking at that. I'd have to say that if we assert that morality is real, the dragons all kind of make normative claims, right? They make normative claims about what we should do or be regarding their virtues, right? So when the silver avatar and the silver camp embodies lawfulness, mercy, chivalry, virtue, decadence, wrath, all these things, sort of like the silver identity, in that way, is conferring almost this sort of normative sense, like I should be lawful, I should be mercy, insofar as I am a part of silver camp. If we look at things in an inter-camp way, you could almost say that yeah, there's an argument going on between the dragons, right? Who is right? I guess is the argument there, and they've decided to settle things via warfare, which is to say they're almost shifting the conversation from who is right, that's something you get from dialogue, to who is better, who has the stronger philosophy, rather than who has sort of the more correct sort of philosophy going in there. A might makes right kind of position there. So whoever is stronger is the one who's more right. So in that way, it's sort of if we win the war, then we're the ones who are justified in having these sort of positions. But yeah, there's probably some sort of debate going on there about but how to even settle that in the first place. Right? I can imagine players really getting into that. Like how do we settle that? Is it really just through warfare? Is it through exemplifying the virtues and seeing who does the best at that? Is it about seeing how other players thrive? Like,
I have two comments here. One, I think it's fascinating that the debate between the dragons is a debate between actual like creatures that have a manifestation. So unlike the real world where we could argue, is there an actual concrete morality or not? There is that guy over there. He is the font of that morality. He's there. If he wins, that means that one was right, according to the contest. But the other argument is, remember, the contest is a war, but it is also, you win the war by getting the most eggs, not by winning the most battles. Winning the most battles is also a way of getting the most eggs, but it's not the only way. And the final bit of that is that the real thing here is not might makes right, is if my philosophy is any good, it is effective.
yes,
so
that
they
would be
are
a good way
effective
of doing that. Yeah.
debate, it's not that my way is stronger, is that it works. It works. You can tell I won.
I remember one time Silver Camp won like multiple eggs for the creation of like this beautiful stash, and I think they still use the stash. It really is quite beautiful. Great.
Mhm.
I cannot believe players made that in the span of few days, and I think that one stash propelled Silver into the victory it had last the previous years, year 3.
Mhm.
I think that it's important to note that even though you are the smallest camp, the year before last, Silver won.
And like you
absolutely.
said, Silver, they won plenty of battles, but effectively it was them enjoying the best of life.
Yeah, it was
that
the decadence.
that won, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
You came to DrachenFest for the very first time as a person who had never LARPed before. Now this is not just for Silver Camp. This is just in general, because I can't think of anyone else that would be a better person to ask this question of what advice would you give to a person attending DrachenFest for the very first time?
Yeah, be prepared. So when I did things, I definitely tried to be prepared, but I was less prepared than I thought I was. The first thing that I did was, or did with my friend, was build sort of pre-prep the tent and sort of learn how that works because we had no idea how to deal with a tent in the first place. This would have been our first time camping. This was our first time camping.
There's a lot of
So-
firsts. A lot of firsts for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Definitely try to do it more than once. Though. We only did it once. We thought we got it down. We did not have it down. We had a bad time,
Oh.
building up and then breaking it down again. But
So-
yeah, definitely rehearse the tenting process. So building it up, breaking it down.
Set it up in your
fact,
yard.
Yeah, exactly. In your yard, in the park, if you can't do your yard. Also, try to be prepared for the heat. The heat can get to you, especially at night.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember there was an effort made to take down the tent, but we were just so tired. I think we just put it in the dumpster and said, okay, let's get a new tent next year.
Oh no.
It's over this. Because we also came by plane and we're thinking, well, we have to pack this down really tight.
Sure.
It's not going to happen, especially because we weren't as prepared as we thought we were. We thought we could like break that down, but
That's
no,
why
we
some
definitely-
people rent an in-genre tent from one of the vendors every year because they just come and set it up for you and you don't have to
Oh
mess
yeah,
with it.
and yeah, they break it down for you too. You don't have to do anything there.
And information
Yeah,
on
it's
information
very
on that can be found on the DrachenFest.us website to rent a tent.
Even as a staff member, I've thought about just getting them to do a tent for me so I don't have to deal with it.
Insects. Yeah.
It is outdoors.
First time camping, insects are gonna be a concern. If you've got bug spray, it's gonna be a good idea to bring it. I don't know if this actually works, but I put sort of like dryer sheets in all of my prep things to repel the insects. It seems to have worked. I'm not sure if that's just because insects don't get into those things or because the dryer sheets are repelling them.
But you
But,
didn't bring any home.
I don't think I brought any home.
No insects.
No Drachen bugs?
No. I think a flight with like 1 or 2 layovers. One layover for like 12 hours in LA.
Oh my goodness.
If the insect somehow survives that, I think it deserves a place in my home. No insect. Food is also a thing to be prepared for. Make sure you bring food. If you don't have food, there is a camp store that has food, but then the concern can also be, well, how do I prepare the food? So make sure you have a way to do that too. Definitely make sure you're prepared. Some camps have like campfires going, so you can sort of look forward to that. But some players will have pots. You probably should definitely bring your own pots and pans if you have a chance. Yeah, to make sure you have the chance to eat. The pre-prepared food at the camp is good, but it definitely won't. It's not something you can eat every day all the time.
This would
So,
be
yeah.
something to talk about on the Discord too, right? Hey, what
Yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of what sort of preparations should I make for this camp in particular?
Oh yeah, the players there can definitely help you. I think the players in Silver will definitely have far more knowledge than me about what to prepare Silver.
Awesome. Well, we like to ask at the end. We're asking all of our guests. Normally, we ask, "What was your first LARP character?" But you had already said that you have not played a LARP character yet. So, what was your first tabletop role playing game character?
Oh, I have played in DrachenFest. I did one
Did you-
thing.
okay. Well, then tell us about your very first DrachenFest LARP character.
Sort of very small concept here. My first character was named Lucan, and he was a gardening monk. Because at the time there was the groundskeeper. It's still a thing. The groundskeeper organization just for referees, and staff members.
They're an
Groundskeeper.
enterprise in the bazaar.
Enterprise. That's right, Enterprise. And I was thinking to myself, it'd be really cool to like really go into that. I'll like maybe get to do some things once or twice. I was able to do one quest that was very fun. I think I could have built the bank more money there, but I just my chance. But yeah, Lucan was a gardening monk, and I don't know where I got the idea from, but I think I got it from like middle school or high school. That who's that guy with the keys?
The Catholic monk who discovered the foundations of genetics.
Yes. There's a table named after him and everything. Recessive and dominant alleles. I can't
Yes.
remember his
Oh,
name.
what is his name? It begins with an M, right?
Hang it. Jason is Googling.
It is Mendel. Gregor
It's
Mendel.
Mendel. Oh,
Yeah,
it was
Gregor
Mendel.
Mendel.
Mendel. I was thinking, well, there was that guy Mendel, and he was a gardener, and he was a monk, and I was like, okay, monks must be gardeners too. Then I'll play gardening monk.
That's all it takes, though. That sounds like a cool, fun concept.
Will Lucan be back this year?
I don't know. I think I've picked up. I picked up a far greater taste for reffing than for playing. I
okay.
really like ref.
What do you like about it?
I really like that sometimes player will come to you like, hey, I did this thing, and it's like a really cool thing. Or I'll watch players do like a ritual or the trial. I was there for the trial too, and you just watch the players just like not only have a great time, but advance this really cool plot. Yeah, so it's really great to watch people do things, I guess, and to like sort of be there for when they achieve things they're really proud of, and to help them do it too.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the last hour. We really appreciate getting to know you and getting to hear about Silver Camp, and we'll make sure that folks know where they can find the Silver Discord in our show notes, and hopefully we'll send some players your way, and who knows, maybe Silver Camp will become not the tiny little camp anymore.
Great. Yeah.
That was great. It was really cool to hear about Silver Camp.
It was.
Yeah, it was. I love him so much. He's such a cool dude. I can't believe he was able to jump into reffing so effortlessly.
It takes a lot of courage to have never LARPed before and then to just show up and not just LARP, but help run it.
And then he said he never camped before. like it was like everything. He was like, I'm just going to do everything I've never done this entire week.
It's incredible.
All right. Before we go, I do have a question.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yep.
I would like to know what your very first LARP characters were.
Oh, wow. Well, my very first LARP character was from a Werewolf the Apocalypse LARP, and his name was Skylar Fabrine. And he
I love
was...
that name so much.
What's that?
I'm writing that down. That's my next.
He was a glasswalker, Galliard, Hamid, and I was much younger. This has been 25 years ago. So
At least.
he was a kid, He was a teenager that was, I think he was maybe 19, and he watched his parents get murdered by vampires when he was little, as they were leaving like a movie theater or something late at night, and decided that when he went through his first change, he was gonna become a vampire hunter and avenge his parents' death by stopping all of them.
So what Ryan isn't telling you all is that I was his storyteller.
Right?
Yeah.
And he gave me this background. This is what I'm going to say. And I went, oh, cool. He's playing Batman.
Yeah, right.
But what's incredible about it is that it never registered that it was Batman. And then
It was the movies. It wasn't a theater.
Something like a dozen years later, in casual conversation,
I go, yeah, that time you played Batman.
and I was so blown away and ashamed and upset. Like, how did I make?
Y'all had been married for like a decade at this
Right.
point, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I had made Batman.
And I felt so bad because I just sat there staring at you like,
You ruined him.
What?
You ruined him for me.
Sorry.
What about you, Jason? What was your first LARP character?
So my first LARP character was from a buffer LARP, it's from a LARP called Shattered Isles that was run by Ian Lemke and a few friends of his, which is notable because he's the person who wrote Changeling,
Right.
one of the World of Darkness books.
Yeah.
And it was a really bad character for an interesting reason.
See, I can at least say that my character was good. I mean, you can't argue with the success of
Batman
Batman.
My character's name was William Gray, and I just picked that name at random I flipped through the phone book twice and picked out a first name and a last name.
I love that.
Yeah. And then I loved Princess Bride, and I thought, well, I want to be sort of like Wesley. But then I picked no qualities that were like that at all. And my idea for the character was he was this guy who had been like a really just low, bad person who robbed people for a living and stole this big sword. And the premise of this game was everybody had went to this island that had just been found, and everybody was there for reasons. And mine was I was running away from the fact that I was that guy who had done all that stuff. And that sounds moderately interesting. And when I got to the island, I tended to be this upstanding, like knightly character with this big sword, but I was actually a piece of shit.
All right.
Again, none of my character choices reflected that. And
Well, they say
my
that-
role play didn't either.
They say that your very first character is typically some version of yourself.
I think that is
Ryan.
there's a lot of accuracy there because
There really
it was
is, though,
full
for-
of bad mechanical choices and bad choices in my role play. So yeah, that was me in my up until yesterday. I'm a completely better person now, pretending to be a paladin while actually being the worst rogue. But I did meet my wife, and because I vaguely looked like Wesley, that was one of the things that worked.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Carie? What was your very first LARP character?
Well, my first LARP and my first LARP character were two different things.
What?
Yeah.
Because she's a storyteller at heart, she helped to
Yeah.
run the first LARP she ever went to.
I did actually. One of my friends decided that they were going to rent. They rented the ski lodge during the summer that was near our house, and so we all camped out.
I love how it
And-
sounds like you grew up in like some beautiful Denver
No,
Rocky
it was-
Mountain country.
No, it was Northwest Indiana. It was awful.
I thought she was going to say the Scala.
No. And they asked me to come help run it. I had no idea what I was doing. I barely started tabletopping at
Right.
that time. And so I didn't know any of the rules. None of us knew rules. So
Sure.
we just had cups with dice in it that would roll around and then look and go, oh, you hit, or oh, you missed.
You were just making
We're
decisions.
just making decisions. And which is kind of how I storyteller ever since then.
Yes.
And they gave me the Monty Python trail to run. So basically, I just took a white stuffed rabbit and chased people around with it.
So what was your very first
And then
character?
my very first character was a vampire game where I was typecast because I was one of the only girls there. They handed me the Torador, also typecast because I'm an artist.
Right.
And then I got chased around by the Nosferatu the whole night.
Did he have the stuffed bunny?
No, he didn't. That would have been amazing. So there.
All right. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed this episode of DrachenPod, and we'll be back for our next episode where we'll be talking to some of the folks behind Green Camp. So, yeah, so we'll see you soon. Take care. Have fun.